Hi, this is Andy Knell, International Creative Headhunter. I'm back in Cannes again with Acontecendo Aqui. We are conducting a number of interviews with key creative figures from the advertising industry, finding out their thoughts on international creative talent and on hiring the best people from around the world. So, hi, I'm here with Ted Royer, Chief Creative Officer of Droga 5 New York. Thank you for being with me here today, Ted.
Thank you.
So we're halfway through the week now in Cannes. I just wanted to sort of ask you, are there any particular highlights in terms of creative work you've seen so far?
I actually just got here yesterday, so I haven't seen a lot of work yet, but I'm looking forward to absorbing more of it, so I don't know.
Okay, we will see. There's more exciting stuff to come. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the value of international creatives today and working overseas and the benefits of working overseas. You yourself, of course, have worked in many countries around the world.
Australia, Argentina, Singapore, yeah.
I believe you're actually an honorary Australian, is that right?
According to Michael Lynch, a campaign brief, which I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. So, from your personal experience, what would you say in terms of your career have been the key benefits that you've gained from working in different markets?
I mean, it's just been one of the greatest parts of my life to be able to work abroad. I can't stress that enough, especially for creatives, to go to an environment that challenges and excites you every single moment. There's nothing better. There's nothing that gets the creative juices going more than going to a place which challenges your assumptions and makes you see things, literally everything, from the food to the way a taxi works to the way you rent an apartment. I mean, it breaks down almost every preconceived notion you have and builds them back up again, and it's wonderful. It makes you, it opens your eyes to the world. I mean, I always say that even if you're working abroad, even if you have a bad day and a crappy time in the agency, you go outside and the air feels different. The environment around you is new. It can't help but be incredibly creatively inspiring. So I couldn't recommend living abroad enough for anybody in advertising, anybody in the world, but certainly for creatives, because it makes you see the world in great, fresh, new ways. Nothing blows apart cynicism faster than that kind of fresh intake. It's just the best.
And that's obviously, a two-way street from the agency's perspective. Obviously, running a creative department, running a creative agency, there are key benefits of hiring international creative talent, fresh perspectives, different ways of approaching briefs. They can bring their own original thinking and different ways of thinking to the work as well.
1,000%. I think that's really, really true. And one of the great things about living in New York is working with people who aren't from New York, who show up with a love and optimism and excitement for the city that me as a jaded old American can get very stuck in my own ways, and to hang out with Brits or Swedes or Australians or anybody who are so excited and happy to be in that city. It's infectious and it's fantastic, and I love hiring people from abroad. I love hiring people with different perspectives. I love watching their faces as we unroll some of the absurdity of American culture, and they're like, really? That's what happens? It's just great. It's very, very fresh, and it makes every single day a lot more fun.
And for creatives who want to work overseas, and of course there are many of those, would you say there is a sort of particular focus in their work? Should they be trying to work on as much international brand campaigns as possible, or should they be really just focusing on trying to develop ideas that have translatable ideas, translatable universal truths? Because they need to, at the end of the day, make themselves relevant to that international agency they're approaching.
Yeah, you nailed it with the second part, I think. It's not about working on certain brands that are sold abroad. It's about finding ideas that resonate on a human level. And that doesn't necessarily mean ideas that everyone understands or feels, but if it expresses humanity in a really understandable, inspiring way, that's really great. I should probably clarify that. I saw an idea from Egypt once that was all about a guy talking to a stray dog, and it was about his phone. It's hard to explain. I didn't understand at all what was going on, but when it was explained to me that Egypt has this wild dog problem, and it was like a real cultural thing there, I got the campaign, I loved it. just have ideas that are really inspiring on a human level, on an emotional level, and I mean that's it. It'll shine through in your work. If you do stuff that's sort of meant to please everybody and it's bland, who cares?
And absolutely, and I think
make any sense.
And I think you see obviously work this week from Cannes, of course, from all around the world. It's such a great international creative hub,
Yep.
and you see work that is very distinctive and moves people, whether it's visually led or it has a visceral emotional core that people can relate to and connect with. And I suppose work that people ultimately have an emotional connection to is what's going to motivate you as someone, from a hiring perspective, to actually be motivated then to want to talk to this particular creative or team.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's more fun about this job than having an idea that works on that emotional level, and you watch someone's face from Japan or Argentina get it and like it, and you feel, I don't know, more connected as a person rather than as a person from somewhere.
Absolutely. The other challenge, again with your Chief Creative Officer hat on, is in terms of retaining key creative talent or just great people. In the UK, for example, I'm not sure if it's the same in the US, the average length of time that a creative will stay in a job is 18 months, which reflects obviously a very fluid industry.
Yeah, restless.
And that's tough. So in terms of retaining talent and looking after key creative talent, is there anything that Droga 5 does to kind of keep those creatives with you and motivated and focused?
I mean, I think that's a problem that everyone has everywhere, and it's a real struggle. I didn't know 18 months. That's incredibly short. I think people leave when they feel like they're not being heard or that their voice doesn't matter. And as we grow, it's a constant struggle to make sure everyone feels like they have those avenues, that they're not just showing up to a job, that they actually have the ability to be heard and to know that their opinion matters and that they are part of a shared experience. So I really think like having that mission felt through everyone and shared through everyone so that they're a part of it, not just being told, something. It's huge. It's a constant struggle, but it's everything. Who wants to go to a job where they feel like they have no voice?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, you've got to have a platform, whatever your level, just to be able to move forward and to communicate.
Yeah.
We're in a communications industry at the end of the day. I suppose I'd just like to finish just, asking your advice. I think you were speaking with, was it the Young Lions you were speaking with downstairs?
I was talking to a group of account people.
Oh,
actually.
Okay, so not the Young Lions at all. But
No.
in terms of young creatives who are looking to make it, in the industry, it's obviously a very competitive industry. We see this week, there's so much work. I mean, what would you say, someone who's obviously elevated, and gone throughout their career and reached the pinnacles, what would you say to a young creative in terms of advice to really progress their career as much as they possibly can?
Wow, that's a heavy question.
We like to finish on the easy ones.
Yeah, do you have an hour? I guess the number one thing is don't let cynicism weigh you down. This business can make you so, can I curse? So fucking cynical, right? You get kicked every single day for the dumbest reasons. And you'll often be like, why the hell am I smashing my head against the wall when a client doesn't want this or the agency isn't behind it? It's so easy to get cynical, but just don't. Let the cynicism just wash right off you. Because when you are more positive, you're more open to opportunity, luck will find you, people will gravitate to you. Don't let cynicism drag you down. It's not worth it. I've had a cynical point of view for so much of my career, and it could have been so much better if I didn't let it get in the way. Don't let it get in the way. Stay positive. You can't see the big picture a lot of times because you're stuck in whatever shitty situation you are, but the big picture is a lot brighter. So don't let cynicism weigh you down.
It's brilliant advice. Stay positive. Ted, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.